What is up, my intuitives? Welcome back to your session. If this is your first time here, this is a general session for the collective. So take what resonates, leave the rest, and let's jump right on in. So the two cards that we have coming out today is the Magician card and the Jupiter card, which talks about wisdom, philosophy, expansion, and good fortune. Now, I stopped my recording session yesterday. I've only got to do um, one other sector or one other grouping of cards right before this. Um, when I usually do about 5 or 6 groupings in a day, I've only got to do one, and then I got this one, and I looked at it as something so mysterious, and I want to say very expansive jumped out to me. And it jumped out to me so much. Like, Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system, but it was very expansive and very large. I remember questioning myself yesterday when I was recording, like, I wonder how far this goes. It's almost like staring out into outer space, and you can just see the blackness, and you can't see how far it goes. Or something very massive and expansive wanted to show itself to you, wanted to introduce itself to you. Sorry if it's windy. I'm outside recording today. It's very nice outside. It's actually very beautiful outside today. But something expansive and something very grand, like a presence, wanted to share itself with you. Not anything, malicious or bad or, spooky or however you like to describe it, but an actual, it's almost like it was so weird to me because it was so grand and so massive, but it was also delicate and quiet. It was almost like a shift in my perception or a shift in my eyes, and I was able to realize it. So hopefully, I can point it out to you. But when this happened, I had to actually get out and like walk around, and I felt very nauseous. I felt very tense behind my neck, like the muscles behind my ears and my neck felt very tense. Um, I drank literally 2 bottles of water in 15 minutes because I was like, I didn't, technically, do we ever really know? But I didn't know if it was the idea that was coming from Jupiter, not necessarily the planet Jupiter, but the concept, the idea of the expansiveness, how big, how massive it is. So I didn't know if it was coming through like that, like idea of a massive download. You may be, realizing or going through something similar, or you may have had this experience already. But I wanted to say, if you look at the Jupiter card before we get into anything about the Magician and anything deeper about the Jupiter card, um, if you look and you squint your eyes just a little, you're almost able to see this presence or this face in the card. Um, not our philosopher here, not the actual planet of Jupiter, but the actual planet almost like ties in as its nose. But it's almost like if you see to the left, the top left of the card, that little gray looking planet, that's like the pupil, and then the circle behind it is like an eyeball. So that's like the whole eye, like the white part of the eye. And then the right side of the card in the right corner, that's the other eye. And then the bottom could be like a little mouth. So I saw like just this piece of the face. As you see the face, it's almost way too big to fit in the card. So it almost looked like something was like pressing through the card or something that was just way too big for the card. You could only see a piece of his face, but it jumped out. And then I realized he's standing behind our philosopher in the Jupiter card. He's standing right behind our philosopher who's learning and who's taking in information and things like that. And if you look at the Magician card, if you have this card, you can pull it out. But the Magician is actually holding something in his hand, and it is a little delicate fairy or being or person. So the way his eyes are pressing through behind his fairy is the same way the eyes in this card started to morph and shift and change and start to press through behind our philosopher in the Jupiter card. So I'm like, what is this presence that it's appearing behind? Or what is this idea that it's appearing behind? So let's jump deeper in. Some downloads that I got and that I wrote down for this one was the student of the Magician. So maybe this idea of this present wants to bring in new concepts and teach you new ideas or teach you new things. We do have the bee on his cloak or on his robe, which for me talks about vibrations. And if you watch the Bee movie, or anything about bees, not just the Bee movie, but it talks about aviation and things like that, saying the bee's body is too big for its wing size or its wing span, so it should not really be able to fly. So for me, it talks about shifting in and out of dimensions or vibrations and things like that. And if you look at the back of the magician's card, aside from his cloak, you see the water is almost like vibrating or has like a lot of vibrations in them. Um, this could be also talking about you learning how to shift the weather, which our personal weather for me talks about our emotions and being in control of our emotions and how maybe you use your emotions for manifestation. But I say the weather and things like that because Jupiter or Zeus, um, the Greek god of the planet Jupiter is Zeus, and he controls the weather or rain or thunderstorms and lightning bolts and stuff like that. So you may be working with how you almost like channel your emotions. Maybe it's your anger or maybe it's other emotions, but simply generally speaking, learning how to channel your emotions and use it to manifest since he is the magician. So taking almost like core potential or core emotions or your raw emotions and putting it's almost like turning it into a ball of potential in some way. When I also see these ripples in the water, I think of almost like bamboo meditations or some type of spiritual meditations in a sense like that. That you can be falling asleep to, or that simply just realigns you. Um, or if anything, actually, yeah, let's leave that there. So I feel. Oh, also, Jupiter card talks about good fortune, and on the Magician card, we have all of these stars. And for me, stars talks about like wishes and wish fulfills, good fortune, and sorts of things like that. But this idea of the magician and Jupiter, I see almost like this magician wants to come through and almost like present themselves to you or share themselves with you so they can show you almost like a new idea or a new way, a new flow, maybe an easier way, something that you have been asking for or something that you have been looking for. Maybe they're teaching you how to like shift your perception, how you see the Jupiter card in the face in the background. Maybe they're actually teaching you how to shift your perception so you can actually almost like slip into the reality that you are desiring. In a sense, it's very expansive. It's a lot. That's what I want to say. It's a lot to learn. I think you're eager to learn. You're ready to learn. I think you're actually going to be learning from each other. This is almost one of those. Uh, it's almost like you have to bring the teacher forth in a sense for them to be able to teach you. It's kind of like how I'm getting it, or it's almost like you have to go out and look for and create your teacher. Or what does that mean? What does create your teacher mean? Maybe you're okay. Let's leave it there. So take what resonates, leave the rest, and let's jump right in. Or Jesus, I'm all getting all jumbled up now. Take what resonates, leave the rest, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.